From the shadows of the underground, where every riff tells a story, and every note leaves a scar.
Legends and lore, breaking down classics and so much more. Metal, goth, punk, and everything between, exploring the music that shaped the scene. Maniacal Music Musings. Maniacal Music Musings. Where darkness meets distortion.
You're listening to Maniacal.
Chills every time. Welcome back to Maniacal Music Musings, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy. As always, we're here for another amazing episode. And, I just got done hanging with my posse on Burner. We're just another crazy clique that has no regrets to commit crimes in pure daylight. You could try to save yourself, but we'll make you triple C's and end up terminally ill. Don't fuck with us, bitch. You get shiv. My co-host, though, what can I say about him? He's a steezy motherfucker who is still sailing through life trying to be the next Basquiat. Every Halloween, he hangs out with the insane killers like always. He used to say he was still loving you, even with his tugboat complex, but we don't talk about that. But back during the boombox apocalypse, he got tired of the yes and the y'alls. So now he just says, you're nothing but a bitch thing that lives forever in his cartoon nightmares daily. CJ motherfucking Plane.
There you go. I's here. I'm alive.
CJ's a grumpy Gus tonight. Just for everybody's warning. But we're glad to have you all back. And I swear to God, that intro video, I can't get over it. But I don't think I will for like 6 months at least. But we have an amazing guest tonight that I'm dying to get to. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Ezekiel James Hampton tonight, a.k.a. Rad Brown, producer, choreographer, I can't say that word for some reason tonight, and just musical artist in general. And I'll get to his shit in a minute because, I got to tell you some shit. But welcome, sir. How you doing tonight?
Good. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure, man. I saw your bio. I was like, I got to have him on. And then I went and checked out your stuff today after I got done listening to the albums. And I was listening to some of the Upper Crust Confections work you did with all the different rappers. And, I was blown away. You are a beat. Your beats are amazing. Your music is amazing in general. Your music is amazing. Like, I can't get over how good it is. And, I mean, some of the rappers you worked with, I was blown away, too. Like, I knew a few names, so that's what blew me away. I was like, I know these people. Especially, of course, I'm not fucking forget his name now. But, yeah, freaking, my God. Why am I forgetting his name? Prevail. Yeah, I'm like, Mad Child then. I'm like, Prevail, yeah. That song blew me
I
away.
think my audio went out.
Oh, did it? But I mean, the one with Vivek Memi, or however you say that name, and then the one with Planetary. Like, those are the three I really dug. Oh, he's gone. Those are the three I dug into, though, folks. I mean, you should go check out his album. It's amazing. I definitely followed him on Spotify, but there he is again.
Sorry, it looks like my audio went out.
Can you hear us now?
It doesn't. Yeah. It drops audio for some reason.
Yeah, no worries. I know you said there was you cut out right before you said there was somebody that you liked that was from the Upper Crust Confections album.
Yeah, I said your song with Prevail, your song with Planetary, and your song with Vivek. Those are the three I really dug into that I dug the shit out of. But
Thanks,
tell
man.
us, tell us what got you into music. What made you want to become a producer?
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So I've been in music my whole life. Played the piano, the keyboard since I was a little kid. Grew up playing in like rock bands. I come from the same hometown as Papa Roach, this little town called Vacaville, California. That's where I grew up. And so they were kind of like big hometown inspirations, and playing like the same stages, same venues. So when I got in my like 20s and my like college years, I moved to Southern California, and I played in a couple of bands. Kept trying to was always big into the DIY kind of indie like local music scene. Like loved to go out to the punk and metal shows, all like the emo shows. That was like all my era. And then I created like an electro pop group. Always been into a lot of 80s influence stuff. So I created a little music collective with a few folks called Scarlet Motion Picture. I also created an ambient music project called Rad Brown, which is maybe like my personal favorite kind of music. It's just like ambient, like avant-garde, experimental, trying to incorporate a lot of like random instruments into that. And then I didn't even get into producing like hip hop, like more seriously until just a couple years ago. And it's been kind of probably the one that's keeping me the most busy. I got to do, you mentioned Prevail, like Swollen Members was one of my favorite groups. So for me, getting to work with a lot of people that I used to listen to when I was in high school was kind of a trip. So I've just been, but ever since I released that album, like I've gotten more opportunities to work with other artists that I love and release collaborative albums. I have one scheduled to release this year with Cool Keith, which might be like maybe my most exciting one yet. I know a lot of people probably know him from like Ultramagnetic MCs, Dr. Octagon. But for me, I was a big Prodigy fan. So I know him from Prodigy, Fat of the Land. He rapped on one of the songs from that album. And then, of course, they sample him on the song Smack My Bitch Up. So
Oh,
you have
my original co-host brought that project album on. So yeah, I know that album well. I can't say it's my type of music, but I know it well.
It was definitely foundational because I was big into like electronica and techno, all that kind of stuff in high school. But really, like the more I learned about the guy who does the music for Prodigy, the dude uses a lot of hip hop producer techniques. So he does like a lot of sampling, and then throws in instruments on top of it. And for me, what kind of drew me to that was this idea that I can, with other genres of music, you can be like influenced by it, but like I'm a super nostalgic person. I kind of had a limited music exposure as a kid. I grew up super like evangelical and like in like the Christian music world, and so for me, I kind of find it ironic and at the same time nostalgic, taking a lot of like media from that time, like music and like old cartoons. But I'll take also outside of that, like video games, commercials from the 80s, and I'll like build a beat around a particular sample that like never really left my head.
Yeah, I noticed that you actually you do like the other cartoons and stuff in there, which I love. If I swear to God, if I read your bio between the original time I read it and today, I would have so brought Swollen Members because I would have been like that's like one of my favorite fucking groups of all time. I love Swollen Members. I'm a huge fan of them, like especially during the Suburban Noise years. But and Cool Keith, that's fucking awesome. Cool Keith's also amazing fucking rapper. I love a lot of songs that he's featured on. But so, what album did you want to bring us today, and why that one?
Okay, so this is it's gonna be Labor Days by Aesop Rock. I think this is his second full length LP back in the Definitive Jux Records era. This to me, this was really special. It's probably, I would say, it's my favorite hip hop album of all time. And I think it's because it's the first time I heard an album in hip hop that felt like less like kind of crusty beats and somebody kind of rapping, just like the same kind of generic sort of sayings and phrasings and like kind of that self bravado hip hop. When it came to the music, every beat on that album to me felt like a composition, felt like an orchestra in a way. It felt so. I felt like a lot of emotion in the music. So it wasn't just like a little catchy melody. Like I felt the emotion. There was a lot of depth to it. And then I'm not as into as a producer. I'm always more into the music than I am the lyrics. But Aesop Rock was also one of those rappers where the dude wasn't trying to rap like he was trying to play up to a particular audience, or rap like he was trying to play like check all the genre stereotype boxes. Like this dude's got a super wide vocabulary, and his ability to articulate in such a poetic and yet very clear way was probably is the first album that I can recall where I felt that way about every song.
It's well. Actually, I'm gonna let CJ get into it first. I know he's more familiar with A$AP Rock than I am, so I'm gonna let him first tonight for that and other reasons.
I love A$AP. A$AP is one of the rappers who rarely or never gets mentioned, in the GOAT conversation, even though he should. Far more than some other white people or white guys that do.
We'll get into that later.
Lyrically, he's one of the better ones. He's up there with R.A. the Rugged Man, and he's up there with Locksmith, and I guess Locksmith is a bad example, but Webby and those guys that they have the ability to tell a story, but also use humor and sarcasm at times and not take themselves too seriously. A$AP is one of the few in hip hop that does concept records, which, I love a good concept record. So I think this was his first concept record, but he's done half a dozen since then. Like he has more concept records than he has just regular records. So that's cool. But, A$AP is one of them guys, man, that he's worked with so many people in different aspects of, MERS and I can't fucking remember their name. Slug and Atmosphere and them guys. I want to say Rhyme Syndicate, but it's not Rhyme Syndicate. That's Ice-T.
Yeah, he was in. I'm trying to think of the group. There was kind of like a little bit of a super group.
Yeah, he's worked with those guys. I can't think of the name of the group, but it's got Slug and Idea and Brother Ali and Ciroc and all of them guys are all part of the label, and I can't think of their name. But anywho, he's very diverse and super talented, and again, what?
Rhyme Sayers.
That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say Rhyme Syndicate, and I was like, that's Ice-T, or was Ice-T. But anyways, somebody who should be in a conversation a lot more than he is. I get frustrated when people when you talk about white rappers, people's automatic go-to is M, and it's like, come on, dude, that's like low-hanging fruit. There are so many better and more talented white rappers than Eminem that, just stop being that guy. Like, I pretty much, if you mention white rapper and your first response is Eminem, I pretty much just tune you out at that point, because that proves to me that you don't really take it serious. Like, Like you want the shit that's right in your face, and then you don't go any further past that. So, that's pretty much what I got to say.
Yeah.
Except as an artist.
I ain't gonna lie. I never really listened. I never really checked out Aesop too much. I always knew his name for a long, like years and years now. I've always known his name. He's been around forever. I remember him when I was a kid too. I remember hearing his name and seeing him on MTV once in a while. Not as often as other white rappers I shouldn't have been, but he's definitely talented as fuck. I respect the shit out of him. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of his style. Like that's just a personal choice. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. He has a great. I can see what he's doing. I could go see what he's trying to do always, but it's just not. It ain't my flow. It ain't the flow. I mean, some of the stuff, yeah, some of the stuff is definitely my flow. He has moments in this album where he really hits like a flow I love, or he hits like a little bit of a harder beat I love. But I don't know. He kind of hits so many different genres of rap that it's hard to really put exactly how I feel on him. Like I'll never just be able to say like I love him or I hate him. It's always gonna be somewhere in between. Like I'm not.
TJ brought a good point, which I agree with. Like he does these these concept albums, which even if I don't dig all of them, I appreciate that someone still wants to do them, because like I grew up with the idea of like listening to an album like from front to back, as you know, not just picking up songs to put in a playlist. And I haven't dug every single one of his concepts. Like I don't love all of his albums, but that one in particular, Labor Days, was the one I think I definitely connected with that one more than any of the other albums, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm like CJ like that. I love a good concept album, and in metal, that's where most of the bands I love do concept albums. And in rap, a lot of the bands I love do concept albums. Like one of them has done a concept career basically, which we'll get to later. But I mean, so that's not the issue at all. It's just I also have a little bit of I have a hard time understanding what he's saying half the time too. That's part of the problem. Like it's just his accent or whatever the fuck it is, the way he pronounces things, just kind of like sometimes I'm like, what the fuck did he say? Like I don't know. Maybe it's my ears too. My ears suck after years of music. So, but I mean, I don't know. If I had to give him a score out of 10 overall, I mean, this album, he definitely would get like a fucking 7.5 to 8. That's damn sure. I mean, he's skilled. I could tell he's skilled, and there were songs I loved and lyrics I loved in there, which we'll get to in a bit. But I mean, I dug him. I dug him. I followed him because I want to hear everything else he's done too, so I can get like a full picture of it. There might be another album that I link with more. Who knows? It happens all the time. We bring on an album, and I'm like, yeah, and I go find the next album they did. I'm like, fuck. Okay. Wrong album got brought on, apparently, for my taste, but okay. So maybe it'll be that. I don't know. But I was happy to finally have someone bring him on the show. He definitely deserved to have his name brought on the show finally. So I'm happy he did.
Yeah, he did one about work.
9 to 5 Anthers.
No, the record, Integrated Tech Solutions.
Oh, gotcha.
It was basically, it's this concept record about working as a tech person and the tech basically coming to life. And, you know, it has almost like a superhero type of thing. But it's it's a really involved record. Like it's very, you know, it's one of them records where you got to kind of listen because it's very detailed, you know. But Black Hole Super Rat, he followed that up with Black Hole Super Rat. You know, and he did Spirit World Field Guide was one. You would probably like that one because it's a lot of stories about ghosts and shit like that. So
I'll hear them all eventually. I'll hear them all eventually. Like. I figured he did other shit I probably would dig more.
Yeah.
What are your top 5 tracks off this album though, there, Zeke?
Okay, let me see, because I want to put it down. So definitely the first one is Daylight. Daylight, if I had to pick a top one, it's Daylight. And that to me was the song that I could understand the lyrics a bit more on this one than maybe some of the other ones where that's a little bit faster paced. But the musicality of it, to me, it felt a little more sensitive, very melodic, and just had instruments that, again, like there's like strings and flutes. And to me, it kind of had this sort of airy atmosphere feeling to it, and the sound to it. And that, to me, I like that with the contrast within hip hop, because I think, when I was I think a sophomore in high school when that came out, and I just was not used to hearing that level of contrast in in hip hop. So that, to me, to this day, I'd still say, if I gotta nail it down to like my favorite beat, it's probably that one.
You got four more? I mean, for a top
Yes.
five, or
Yes. The 9 to 5, the 9 to 5 anthems, is another one. So that was one where, again, I like the concept of that kind of sort of championing the working class. And again, the beat, I love the beat, but the lyrically, the concept of it, to me, I thought was just really was great, kind of giving some kind of, because so much of in other hip hop lyrics, like it always tends to revolve around again, like somebody's culture, or somebody's talking shit, or my rap game's better than your game. And to me, I don't know, his lyrics are just there. It's a little bit more mature. It's a little above that. It's not as self-conscious, I think, as that kind of hip hop tends to be. So that is going to be one. Let's see, what did I put as my other ones? It's tough. I had to like go through this album like 3 times just to like nail it into like a solid top 5. Here, while I grab another one, what did you guys think of those two in particular before I tell you the other ones?
I like 9 to 5. I didn't put it on my list, but I did like some of the parts of it. I just didn't dig the whole song as a whole. Like, but I did like parts of it. And yeah, well, I'll talk about Daylight in a bit. Trust me on that.
Yeah, CJ, what did you think of that one?
Oh, what one?
The 9 to 5ers anthem.
I actually have that on my list really high, so that's one of my favorite ones off of that one, off the record.
Nice. Hold on, I'm looking what I nailed in my other 3. Hold on a sec, sorry. Oh, there we go. Okay. Flash Flood. Flash Flood is another one where I really just love the beat. It kind of has this like ominous sound, this little sample. But again, it's still very kind of airy. It sounds mysterious. Like, it sounds like just if you just hit the beat, it could be like the score into like a movie trailer. So that's in there. The song No Regrets, which to me, the beat is really cool, but No Regrets, talking about like the lyrics, this is one where I could hear the lyrics a bit more clearly. And the story about this, like, I know that he tells the story of this little girl who's, different and would rather spend her time focusing on her art than going out and doing kid things and, playing with the neighborhood kids. Everybody said she was super weird. And then as she gets older, she meets another artist, and she basically just lives life on her own terms, like not caring about what anybody else thinks. And so to me, I have a feeling like he was writing himself into that character, but it's something that I connected with too, because I have not maybe had the most traditional like life path. And I've always placed a lot of high priority on like doing my art. So like things like not necessarily like getting married, having kids, or focusing, super relentless on like a career where I can, outside of music, something that where, well, on the surface of it, you could do a lot better in your career if you spent more time developing that versus, working on your art. But I've always had this super strong conviction, like I am who I am, and I'm happiest who I am when I get to work on my art. So that one was definitely one of the more interesting ones lyrically. Then I would probably round out my 5 with the song "The Yes and the Y'all." That's just another one where I think musically was so clever and so untraditional to what you would typically hear. I think this record came out in like 2000, I think, or 2001. Like it was just so different and unapologetically unique. To use these samples that kind of to me sounded more cinematic.
Yeah, I think came out, I want to say 2002. Oh no, 2001. You're right. Yeah, 2001. But yeah, those you definitely had some other good choices. But I'm gonna get to most of those in a minute. But CJ, what were your top 5, buddy?
I had One Brick at number 5. Bent Life at number 4. Daylight is number 3. Shovel was number 2. But 9 to 5ers was my number 1. Because it has like that storyline in it. Kind of the best example when you're talking concept record, it kind of has that story. I mean, all of his songs do, but these are kind of the ones that I liked. I enjoyed the most. I'm not as familiar with this one. I'm more familiar with his newer stuff. The Superette and Tech Solutions and all that. All of his records over the past 3 or 4 records have always been in my top 5 at the end of the year. Because he's just kind of that guy. You can pretty much always guarantee that there's going to be 3 rappers that are very high on my list all the time. One is Vinny Paz, one is ASAP, and the other one is Droog. Droog is another one that is grossly underrated that people, people don't hear or give enough credit to. So I dug this record. It was a cool record.
Yeah, so I had one honorable mention. Save Yourself was my honorable mention. The flow of the breakdown at like 2 minutes, 30 seconds in is fucking incredible. The rest of the song kind of bored me, but that little breakdown for like 30 seconds was freaking amazing. Number 5 was Boombox Apocalypse. That was a really fun song. I enjoyed the shit out of it. Number 4 was Daylight. That song blew me away. And the lyrics in it were fucking incredible. You only call her a bitch because you can't get that pussy. Like that's I've been saying that for years. Like, I've been saying that people for years when they bad talk women. Like, I'm not saying everybody had that pussy and that's the reason they're bad talking. That's a whole nother story. But I've been saying that to people for years. So I was like, shit, someone finally said it in a rap song. Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean.
And my number 3 was the Yes and the All. That was an amazing song. Kinda had like a Hobson feel to it almost, like predating Hobson, of course, by a long time, but still. Number 2 was No Regrets. That I love the story in that song, and I was the weird kid, so I kind of fucking get that song a lot. I relate to it. But number 1, nobody mentioned yet, and I'm fucking surprised. So I'm kind of happy though in a way as well. My number 1 was the Tugboat Complex Part 3. Which is there a Part 1 and 2, or did he just randomly put a Part 3 in there?
I'm trying to remember. I really, it's been a while since I listened to it, but his first album was the one before, and it's possible.
I mean, I really love that album. I really love that song. That song's fucking amazing. I love the way he does his voice in it. Like he makes his voice like really deep in parts of it, and it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I don't think there's.
I'm surprised no one else mentioned that though. I really was. I will say. I mean, there really isn't, but actually, he had 2 albums before that. So, okay, there is a Tumbuck. Okay, well, Part 2 is on his first album, but I don't.
Was the first one?
Unless he did Part 1, the second album.
So I think Labor Days.
He didn't do a Part 1, so he did Part 2 and then went to a Part.
I think it was Float, and then there was the
Labor Days is the. Nope, it was Appleseed in '99, then Float, then Labor Days.
Oh, I forgot about Appleseed. You're right.
Spotify don't lie. Well, usually. But yeah, it was a really good album. I enjoyed the shit out of it, and I'm glad I got to experience it first thing this morning. It was actually a good album to like start my day to at work. So I dug it. And well, that's gonna bring us down to Mr. CJ's album. What album do you want to
Uh-oh.
bring this week, CJ?
He brought Aesop, so I kind of had to go big because, when you bring a lyricist, you need another lyricist. And it is well known within anyone who knows me that when we have discussions about the greatest of all time, number one for me is KRS-One. But yes, the hair be underneath him is a guy who, sadly, we lost to suicide last year. I had the pleasure of becoming friends with him. I got to interview him. What was supposed to be a fun interview took a very dark turn and got very, very deep, discussing our daughters, mine that passed away, his that almost did. What was supposed to be a fun interview resulted in me making one of the toughest men in hip hop cry. So I have the interview on my computer. It has never aired, but I brought Chino XL because when it comes to lyricism in hip hop, I would die on this mountain that very, very few people can match the ferocity, his ability to use words that just don't seem human sometimes, and to inject emotion into songs that just will kind of pull your heart out, This, unfortunately, was a record he was working on at the time of his death. It was about 90% done. His daughter finished it to release it. There are two other ones, one with an Australian producer and a third one that may or may not see the light of day, according to his daughter. They don't know if there's enough of it done to be able to kind of, finish it whole, or it may be an EP. But I chose Chino XL. It's a record called Prelude to the Mantis. And it's a crazy record. So I am interested to hear your thoughts.
Well, what do you think of Ezekiel? Guess I always go first.
Yeah, I actually I'd first heard of Chino XL because it says another electronica collab, kind of like with Cool Kid the Prodigy. But Chino XL was on a BT record, called, and he did a song. I think it's called like, no, was it BT? Maybe I think it's BT. I thought it was Mad Skills, but it was through working with an electronica artist. So eventually I kind of, I think I'd heard like one or two albums, but this kind of gave me the chance to go back and like listen to some of the newer stuff. And so I did have one honorable mention on it. It was the song Chi Chops or Chai Chops. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But I liked the simple, but it was kind of like effective, like the piano sample. A lot of the beats that I really dug is because it had a really good piano sample. So yes, I thought that was really good. I have a good handful, where the beats to me were just like really balanced. And like I know sometimes I feel like I can overseason. I try to put too much. And these all feel really balanced where you get like a really nice like melodic instrumental part, but it still like leaves enough space for Chino's vocals.
Exactly. I mean, I actually never. I mean, I've heard Chino 100 times on guest spots. Like on a lot of rappers I love, he guests on their albums. Like that's what he did. He guessed on everybody's shit. But I always liked his verses when I heard them. So I was kind of curious to see what an album of his would sound like. And I mean, I know he know he died shortly like before this. I knew all that history and everything about him, but this album was definitely different. I'm not gonna say I fell in love with it the second I heard it. Like, but a lot of the track, I mean, it's not complete really by him, so you can't really judge it too harshly. But a lot of what I heard, I liked. A lot of what I heard, I liked, and I got with some of the songs. I was just like, this is okay. I'm like, this seems like it needed like another couple days of work on it, or something like that, or maybe another verse thrown in, or something rewritten. But 90% of it was really good. It just, the album. It wasn't an album that was really put together by him in order he wanted it to be or anything. I don't think so. Didn't have the flow that I think it would have if he actually finished it. Of course. So I mean, that's why it's kind of hard to judge it because of that. But it's basically like having someone hand you a sample CD and say, "Hey, tell me what you think of this," and it's like, I could give you notes, but you ain't gonna do anything about them now, dude. So, R.I.P. and fucking, I enjoyed what I heard. I definitely I had him in my like list too to go check him out. I think I did at least. I can't remember if I did, but he impressed me. I mean, I knew he was a good rapper. I didn't need to hear him to know that, but he definitely will be missed. A lot of my favorite songs by the rappers have him on them. So I can't even think
I want to bring his one record on here, but it's a double record and there's like 36 songs, and I know it's like too long to bring on here, but
if we ever do one of those, if we ever catch a cancellation and we do that one-on-one thing, then you could do that definitely. But
if you want to hear Chino at his best, I mean, just for the listeners, his record Reconstruction will just blow your mind, man.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that album.
Fucking, I listen to that record every time I hear it, and I'm just like, holy shit. The stuff he's saying about his childhood and his life and different aspects, man, is just, it's like a horror story set to fucking hip hop, man. Like,
Yep. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm happy I got a Chino album finally on the show. He deserves it, and he'll probably come back on again at some point, I'm sure. But overall, CJ's picked way worse rappers I didn't like, so no complaints. But what are your top 5 for this one, CJ?
Number 5 is Paradigms. He got kind of deep on that one. Same with Cruel World. Those are typical Chino songs where he's talking about just his mental state. Bluebird has a really cool track that he's rapping over, and it's just really melodic. Number 2 is Terminally Ill, because, I mean, if you're going to do a Chopper song, having Tech Ritz and King Crooked on it, you can't go wrong. Like, I mean, and Static Selected, did the production on it, and he's ridiculously talented as a producer. But my favorite on this track, or a favorite track on this record, it's the song called Loving You. There's something about that track that it's so memorable. It's so melodic. It's so human, when he, M80's verses is great, but basically when he raps about, meeting this foreign woman and wanting to be everything to her, and then her basically kind of saying, fuck you, I'm going back to my ex who abandoned me, like, you can feel the pain and humanity of that song. And I think as men, we've all been in a situation where we've had someone we loved who, either went back to a douchebag ex or shit on us for being a nice guy or something. And that's basically what this song is. So, but there's so many songs in this record that I could have put on this list, but those are kind of the 5 that really stand out to me. So,
what about you, Zeke? What were your top 5?
I would say Paradigms was my number 5. musically, just the piano, the syncopated synth. I just thought it was kind of an earworm for me. Number 4 was Shots Through Your Vehicle, because the kind of fluty sounds, again, that airy atmosphere. It just, to me, the contrast with like the performance is just, for me, I like that. It adds nuance and texture and depth. Number 3 was Bluebird. Again, for me, that piano sample, I really dug. Number 2 was Loving You, because the harp, the harps. I know anytime I hear them in hip hop, I almost like immediately like put in my hip hop love playlist. And then, but number 1 is probably got to be Guillotine. And I love the guitar, but also they sample from the Karate Kid, the musical score from Bill Conti. And I've done that in multiple songs where I sampled from the musical score to Karate Kid. And again, it's that kind of like ethnic flute sound, which taps into my early love of new age music when I was younger. When you're a kid and everybody asks, "Are you a rocker? Are you a rapper?" All that kind of silly playground talk.
Yes.
I always had to be like kind of avoid those, because like when I was younger, I was into like Enigma and Enya and like all this like new age. It kind of was a precursor to getting to like electronica stuff. But when I hear in hip hop something that it's like a bolder production choice, it's not it sounds different, and it sounds to me, it brings out more of the sensitivity of like if somebody's gonna like pour their heart out in some lyrics. It's kind of a good musical pairing with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. Like when Madchild does that, like when some of his songs, like it's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
But my honorable mention for this album, though, because I had one, was Steezy, Steezy. That song was clever. Terminally Ill is a number 5. That was a really good freaking song. You could feel the emotion behind like his words in that song. And then my number 4 was Triple C's. Like that song blew me away, just the beat in it. Number 3 is Still Sailing, because I kind of like it as the end of the album. Like it kind of fit, like knowing that he's gone. It kind of fit like very well with like him, like kind of like almost like I'm sailing on the river Styx to get the fuck out of here. Like that's kind of like what it still was. Number 2 was Loving You, because that's you're both right about that. That song is phenomenal. And as CJ said, we all have that experience in life of being rejected for being the good guy, or just because the girl is crazy, you want to go back to a piece of shit. So everybody's got that experience in their life, and mine actually went back to a piece of shit, and then he killed himself like a couple months later, after I moved states because I was so fucking heartbroken. So yeah, that fucking song lines up perfectly. When you said that, CJ, I was like, yep, that makes sense. I get that song now even more. But my number 1, nobody mentioned yet, and that's Basquiat. I got that. Basquiat blew me away. I thought that was the best song he did on this album. It was just so artistically amazing. The music and the lyrics together were just perfect. I was like, okay, this song's bomb. So yeah, overall, I was pretty happy with Chino. I'm definitely gonna be checking him out in the future. Maybe other albums of his that he actually finished that like a little bit better. Maybe, who knows? But I guess it's that time of the night, folks. That everybody dressed this time, but I especially CJ. But when you were bringing the album 2002, like I was looking around about 2002, and I'm like, who the fuck can I bring? And then I remember I looked at a lot of people. I even looked at Mitch, all his whole members for a second, because I knew they were around then. I looked at KMK. I even like I'm looking at Lars. I'm like, shit, they didn't do shit back then. Like I almost brought Triz. I was thinking about bringing that Triz album for a hot minute, but his earlier stuff was like really hardcore. And I know CJ's not that big a hardcore person anymore, so I'm like, I'm not gonna bring like he's even more hardcore than who I brought. So I'm not gonna bring like someone that dark, especially his early shit. Like fuck, I love his early shit. It's so dark. But I'm like, you know what? There's an album I was supposed to bring on the show a year or 2 years ago that I never got a chance to bring because the guest canceled, and I couldn't get around to it. So I was like, fuck it. It's right. It's not in 2002, but it's right there and like neighboring it. So I'm like, let's fucking bring this finally. And I'm dying to talk about one of my favorite rap songs of all time. One of my favorite diss track of all time is on this album. So I'm like, let's bring Insane Clown Posse, ICP's Forgotten Freshness, Volume 4, Volume 3. Is it 4? It's 3, I think, right?
3.
Yeah, okay, Volume 3 album. Oh yeah, because 4 sounds good. But yeah, let's bring Forgotten Freshness Volume 3, which for those who don't know in the Juggalo world, or in that world, I should say, Forgotten Freshness is basically like their EPs they do in between albums where they put out like outtakes and rarities and songs that were supposed to make the Joker's cards before them, but they just missed the cutting. So I think this is one of my favorite albums they ever did, and it's freaking a phenomenally fun album to talk about. So, and there's a lot of great guest stars on it as well. So, I figured it'd be an interesting one to bring on with a music producer. So, what did you think of it, Zeke? I'm dying to hear what you thought. I'm dying to hear what you thought of ICP because I see you didn't really work with much hardcore as far as I could see in your past. So,
Yeah, it's interesting. I would say it's the one when I saw your guys' submissions. To me, it's like there's one here that's not like the others, and I would say it was this. And I got to be honest, I had not really gone in the depths of ICP. I, however, have always been very highly fascinated with Juggalo culture, in the sense of, because I guess I didn't really understand. I didn't get the music so much. So but there's several documentaries about the Juggalo
there
Festival. And I'm always reading interviews. I've tried even with ICP, all the Howard Stern interviews are it's interesting. I absorb as much as I can with the culture and the movement. And yet with the music, I just had not really done as much exploration. So it was fascinating. It was very different. And I don't know what this means I think this could be such a interpretive way to put to anybody who hears this, but it kind of felt like it's something that somebody from my hometown would make. It has this kind of small, kind of small town vibe to it.
Exactly.
And so, but I picked my top 5 because I did find some charm in there. So I don't know.
I think what he meant to say, folks, is he found some gold in the shit. But basically, we'll get to your top 5 in a few minutes. CJ, as everybody knows, I already know CJ likes ICP to some degree. So I'm just dying to hear what you thought of this album more than anything.
Of the 4 Forgotten Freshness, this is actually my least favorite one.
Really?
So half of the songs on this record should have stayed where they originated, which was unheard.
Well, some of them actually were on other albums too, but yeah.
Yeah, there's just some especially Jay, it almost seems like he's just saying shit to say shit, sometimes. Talking about putting dog shit on a hot dog bun, it's just come on, dude, it's not even funny, it has its moments, but I do like ICP for the most part. I kind of, even at 55, I still laugh at their juvenile humor because I grew up in Andrew Dice Clay and Sam Kinison and George Carlin, and I am a gigantic fucking child. As everybody knows, my next single that's coming out is called #FuckYou. So, I have my own juvenile side that, but this one, like I said, it has its moments, but it's not one I really listen to a lot. I kind of like 4 better than 3. So
It's funny because 4 is actually like the first ICP album I ever bought. Ever bought the physical copy of. Like that was the first time I ever bought the physical copy of was 4. So that album does have a special place in my heart. But this one, it has certain songs that made me love ICP more than anything in the world when I first heard this album, and like that's why I had to pick. I had to bring it. I had to finally bring it on. I'll get to why in a second, but my I kept it limited on my picks. I didn't do like the whole album like I usually would for ICP. But my honorable mention was Every Halloween, because that actually is a song that's on a bunch of records, and I freaking love that song. Like it's so metal, but like Jay is, and I love Jay's raps in it. Like his verses are perfect in it. Like it's just a really good like what it's like to be a Juggalo song. My number 5 is Insane Killers because I love Vanilla Ice. After his first album, I think he's an incredible artist. His first album sucked because it had to be all pop and mainstream. But once he stopped being famous, basically, and started doing underground rap, I think he's really good, and his underground metal is really good too. I still have to bring his Bipolar album on. That's another album I picked one week, and then the guest canceled as well. So I got to bring Bipolar on. I got you. I could have brought Bipolar. That's a 2001 album too, but I was like, I'm always hesitant to bring Vanilla Ice on a show because I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, much love that's going to get. But I love Insane Killers. That's on Vanilla Ice. That's actually on Bipolar. Vanilla Ice's album that came out the same year as well. So number 4 was Cartoon Nightmares. I fucking love that song because it's like a little more metal and it's like a fun song of theirs. Like it's just got so many great like lines in it that you make you laugh your ass off. They reference so many good cartoons from like the 80s and 90s. And I mean, the fucking line that Jay does like towards the end of the song, like, if you were Andre the Giant, that shit would be slick. You could finger fuck a girl and she would think it's your dick. Every time I hear that line, I die laughing. Cause like I was a wrestling fan back in the day, so I fucking always loved Andre the Giant. So, and I'm a big guy like him. So that was like fucking makes me die laughing. Number 3 is Passing Up Werner. That's a fucking fun. It's that song is it's somebody else's song they're doing their own version of. I forget who it is, but I know I heard it. It is NWA. Okay, yeah, I thought I'm like I know I've heard it a bunch of times, but
Posse on Broadway.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I mean, and I love that they threw a Kid Rock disc in there because that's right when like Kid Rock was starting shit with them, so they threw the Kid Rock disc right in there, like kind of calling back to him being on their first album. My number 2. And this should have been my number 1, but I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do a diss song of a number 1. I wanted to do like an actual rap song. So my number 2 was Nothing But a Bitch Thing because especially back when I first heard this album, I really hate Eminem because he got clean and his music started sucking horribly. So I love that song. Like they did one before called Slim Mantis that was just basically a remix of Slim Shady, but just dissing them completely. This song is hilarious, slow. I love the fucking opening with like Dr. Dre, and I love the freak. I love it. I love the intro of Dr. Dre, and then I love like the whole song is just hilarious. Run to Dr. Dre and open your butt. Like he puts fucking like so many like juvenile lines in there, fucking hilarious. I also think it's one of the best diss songs ever, and the fucking beat in it is so phenomenal. Like I literally used to just walk around all day with that in my head, like. Eminem ain't nothing but a bitch. Like, just like fucking. Anytime someone tells me they love Eminem, I'm like, all right, you gotta hear this song. But, and this was actually payback for what he did to them on his album. So, like it was a payback track. But my number 1, 100%, because it's the most legit rap song on the whole album, is Just Another Crazy Click because it's a super song to me, a super group song basically to me. Because I mean. ICP, Twisted, and 3-6 are all like 3 of my favorite rap groups, and they're all fucking phenomenal together. And Just Another Crazy Click was on one of the 3-6's albums too. Like it's an amazing fucking song. I love all the verses in it. Like it just, even Jay's verse, which is like the weakest one, is still decent. I'll stab you with an umbrella and then open it. Like I fucking love that line. Like that's the best way to start a song ever. Like it's, and the beats on it's amazing too because you know. Juicy J has hand in that too, but I mean, so I fucking like love that song. But what were your top 5, Zeke?
Yeah, no, I kind of there's a lot of what you were saying that I felt. I Just Another Crazy Click was actually probably my number 5 because of the drum beat. I noticed though with a lot of these songs on this album, like they kind of had this this drum beat that was this kind of old school type of vibe almost. So I just, for me, it's like one of those things where I really kept the beat kind of kept me going along and like following along with the lyrics. Number 4 was gonna be the Mom song. Just because I liked how that was kind of unpredictable, like the changing of the samples and like so I really like that unpredictable nature of it. Number 3 for me was the Posse on Werner. Again, it's the drums, like the bounce that had this little bounce beat to it. The drums actually reminded me of like my first keyboard that I ever started doing hip hop music on. It was the Yamaha DJX. It was the first sampling keyboard I ever had, and at the time, it's like you could only hold like, I think it was like 4 seconds of samples, and maybe you could do like 3 or 4, but like 4 seconds. Kind of had this little scratch. You could actually do scratches. This little scratch pad. They made a much more popular sequel called the DGX2 in terms of like units sold, and but it was not as good. And I still have my original one. It doesn't work. It's just collects dust in my garage. But one of these days, I want to make a music video where I break it. And but I have a lot of love for it because it's just that keyboard. Is when I hear that Posse on Werner, I think of some of the drum samples that I remember using on the keyboard. Number 2 was the Nothing But a Bitch thing. Part of it was because kind of like what you mentioned, Jeremy, with the beat. Like that beat was possibly the best just on like the beat part alone, like maybe the best one on the album. Like it was super kind of catchy and bouncy, old school vibe. And then also because I remember hearing, I think I actually did hear the song back in the day because it was sort of like that Eminem ICP feud going on. And so I'm pretty sure I do remember hearing at least clips of it. So kind of bring me back into like the pop culture of the era was kind of fun. And then my number 1 favorite song was Fly Away. And that's because anytime I hear a beat where I recognize the sample and it feels like something that's like personal to me, I get super pumped. And they sample a new age group called Deep Forest, which I've sampled them before as well, because like it kind of makes for great atmosphere in hip hop, because it's like they're bringing in some of these South American flutes and like just in some of these like kind of choral choruses. And so when I heard Fly Away, I instantly recognized the song that's playing.
Yeah, Fly Away used to be one of my favorite fucking songs off this album, but I listened to it way too much and I just got sick of it. But I used to love that song. Like even when I heard it today, I was kind of like just like headbanging to it still. I'm just like, it's such a good like song. It's got such good like feeling and flow behind it that like you feel what they're talking about, and it's so bad.
Yeah. So what to me it was like I mean I appreciated the aspects of those other songs, but if I had to just pick one straight up like the best song, that was the one for me.
It used to be my top like 10 for ICP, but just I've heard it too many times. Like a lot of ICP stuff has just been over listened to by me. But so I'm going back now and finding the gems I didn't really like before that. I'm starting to like really love, like 12 off of Riddle Box. That song I just started to fucking really get into that song. I never really used to hate that song, but now I love it. It's weird how shit works in your head sometimes. But CJ, any tops on this one or no?
So let me interject a couple things here. One, I was at the Fillmore the night that Twisted debuted, which is around the time they recorded the Halloween song that's on here was actually recorded. It was they handed out samplers that night, and that was one of the songs that was on there.
Yep.
It was weird because when Twisted came out, they brought him out like on these carts, like the Silence of the Lambs. And as soon as they started rapping, and it was before the record was even released or debut record, I was sitting there and I was like, I know those voices, and I couldn't place where I knew the voices from. And it took me like 3 songs to realize, oh shit, that's Bones and Havoc from House of Crazy. Because they had introduced themselves as Madrox and, what.
Monoxide. Yeah.
Monoxide, and I was like, I know the voices, and I couldn't place it. So the Slim Shady song, that sample was actually from Everlast's first record, um, called "I Got the Knack." It was actually on Ice-T's label, before he was ever in House of Pain or whatever. Everlast was a West Coast surfer kid, who sampled "I Got the Knack" by the Knack. That was his single, and one of the songs that's on that record is where, and it's kind of funny considering Eminem ended up in a beef with Everlast, kind of over that. But as far as the songs, "Take It" and the Mom Song are like the two songs that kind of stand out to me. The Mom Song, they sample the Bruce Hornsby song, which Tupac used. But, "Take It" has that guitar riff in it that is so prominent in a lot of their stuff, and a lot of the new Twisted stuff
is that Mikey? Was that Mikey Clark or was that Zug Island doing that guitar?
Actually, I think it was probably was Mikey, because that was before Zug Island was ever really a thing. So
they signed them right by that time.
I'm not sure. Might have been. I would venture to say it's probably just Mike.
Probably his guitar is incredible always. So
yeah, like Mike. Mike's sort of this quirky producer who, he had such a great knack for adding in those
sound effects and shit.
Yeah. The sound effects and the funhouse type shit that kind of just sets the song off. He
made ICP. There's no doubt. He made ICP.
Yeah, like
game.
For example, the song "Toy Box." I know it's not on here, but "Toy Box" would not be nearly as good or funny
without his sound
effects of what Mikey added to that. The Toy Box opening and the
wah, wah, and the wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. So
classic.
Mikey was, Mikey was as much a member of ICP as Jay.
He's a third member. They always said he was the third member, like unofficial third member. But yeah, I figured you'd love a good Eminem diss song. But
it's an okay one. It's if we're going to talk about Detroit diss songs, I much prefer Royce's Malcolm X diss to D12.
Yeah, I've heard
just because I have a hatred of Bizarre, and Royce's line about luring Bizarre's fat ass onto the porch with a McDonald's cheeseburger, I just thought was one of the funniest things ever, because
I know. But well, I'm happy I got to bring this album on finally. And now I got to wait a little while bringing another ICP album on, because I always got to give it a few months in between at least. But there's always so many to bring on. It's hard. There's so many to bring on in so many years. But, well, folks, we brought you your 3 albums for the night. Hope you enjoyed them. Hope you enjoyed the samples that follow them. And, of course, always stay tuned to the end of the episode to check out one of our guest songs I will select to play for you all. I have an idea what it might be, in my opinion, but we'll see. I want to give a few more listens to other songs to make my choice. And I got time. I got a couple months for this releases, so I got time to figure it out. But thank you for coming on, Zeke. It's been fun as shit having you on. Get to talk some rap with you. Where can they find you? Where can they find your music and everything you do?
Yeah, thanks, guys. I had a lot of fun and appreciate listening to the album selections that you picked too. So people can hear my music wherever they normally get music. So if that's Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Amazon, Bandcamp, those are all ways to listen and support. Rad Brown, if you're into hip hop. Radagast the Brown, if you're into ambient. Skylight Motion Picture, if you're into like indie electro pop.
Yeah, the Radagast the Brown stuff I checked out a little bit too. It's not my scene. I need lyrics, but it was what I heard. I liked what I heard. I'm not an ambient person, but
hey, You ever have you ever can't fall asleep? That's what it's good for falling asleep.
I will try. I will try it on my 1-year-old. But CJ, where can they find you?
I am everywhere. TikTok, Spotsy Book, all of that. Just look up Music on CJ Playing. You can find me on all of the streaming services under CJ Playing. We have the synthwave concept record, which is Neon Exodus. You know, space love story, story of survival, yada yada yada.
Static.
Static Angel.
Static Angel. Actually, it's actually funny today. I had CJ Playing morning. Static Angel came on my way to work, and then a couple songs later, X Marks the Spot came up. So I had CJ Playing morning.
Oh, nice. X Marks the Spot is my Gen X anthem. That's a hair metal song. Next month, we got a new record coming out called Love Songs for the Mentally Impaired. It is a ska punk record that is just me being juvenile, basically, and obnoxious. The first single is called #Fuck You.
Y'all gonna love it. Y'all gonna love it. I'm telling you already. I've heard a lot of the tracks.
You know, it's to make it very easy for you guys to picture in your brain. Imagine if Weird Al Bowling for Soup and Real Big Fish went into a studio and made a really obnoxious record about how much they hate society. You know, that'll be out. But otherwise, like I said, I'm on all the streaming services. So stream it, share it, send me email, tell me how much you hate it, how much it sucks, and that I need to get a real job.
Wait, where are you guys from?
Sorry, go.
Do what?
Where are you guys where are you guys coming? Where do you guys live?
I live near Detroit. I live in Michigan. There.
Yeah, I'm in Massachusetts. I'm
okay.
Somewhere near Boston.
Yeah, I was mostly in the Grand Rapids area, Battle Creek, and then.
I'm near Battle Creek. I'm about 45 minutes east of Battle Creek. I'm kind of halfway between Battle Creek and Ann Arbor, and then Lansing's above me. So, you know,
cool.
I live in a city that's famous for its prisons. We're literally known as the Prison City because we have 5 prisons here. And if you go to prison in Michigan, you start here and end here, basically. Like, you know, this is where you go in and this is where you get out. So, you know.
I'll make a note to self not to commit any crimes next time I'm in Michigan.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's, you know.
Probably a good idea. But, folks, you can find both your musers on Facebook as Squatchy Largefoot, on X and the Gram as that Juggalo Bastard, and, of course, the best place is always YouTube. Maniacal Music Musings, everything that's ever been done is on YouTube in video form. So you get to see all our pretty faces smiling as always. But come back next week. We got a fun episode next week with some different styles of music. Not rap, but we're heading more towards the rock verse again. A couple different styles of rock though. So come enjoy it, and we'll see you all next time. Have a good one, everybody, and we'll see Ezekiel again sometime in the future, I'm sure. Have a good one.
Yeah. Thanks.